Hello, everybody, and welcome to Podfluxxx episode 55. Here we are, Rick. How you doing tonight?
Doing great. How about you?
Oh, we're doing well. We had a nice weekend. We played mini golf on Sunday. I beat everybody in my family.
Yes.
Yes, I beat Rachel by only one stroke.
But you won.
Only one, but I still won.
But you won, yeah.
Yeah, and the first hole in one. Set the tone early, put everybody in their
the
place.
wrap. Take it home.
So that's what we did. That was our weekend. How about yours?
Watched TV and ate ice cream. So
Very, very good. I did a lot of, well, not the ice cream, but I did a fair amount of television watching this weekend.
oh
And to
man.
be quite honest with you, not much of it was wrestling, but I do have some wrestling on the agenda tonight and some non wrestling on the agenda tonight. And that is where I would like to start because it's been in the works for a while. It's been official for a while. And I never asked you what your feelings on it were. So, Ricky Reyes, Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson will be a sanctioned official professional boxing match. Where are you at?
I don't know. I mean, I'm excited to see Tyson back in the ring, but the I don't know. The point of it I don't get because Tyson's not gonna continue to fight. I couldn't imagine, right? Like in the pro ranks for anything particular. So I don't know. I guess this is what it is, which is what the Paul brothers do, which is like kind of a freak show type of event.
Mm-hmm.
Being a sanctioned fight, I mean, again, what does it do for either one of them, really, right? So I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. It'll happen. They're hyping it up well, so it'll just. I'm curious to see what the house is and what the buy rates are more, like the business of it, and then where do you really go from there? Would be my question. Does that mean Tyson continues to fight? Like if he does well, which I'm sure he will. If he loses, is it is it the biggest work in boxing ever, or the worst work, I should say? So I don't know. I mean, people will watch though, right? Because it's kind of because of the name value.
There's 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 a lot to unpack here.
Yeah.
Because first of all, Texas Stadium,
Yes.
AT&T Stadium in Texas.
Yeah.
So I am, like you said, I am excited to see how many people Jake Paul and Mike Tyson can pull into that building, what the
Yes.
undercard is.
Right.
The next thing there is it's going to be streaming on Netflix. So how much money is Netflix putting up for them to have this fight? And what will they be advertising? So I'm sure there's going to be some Netflix, either new show or movie trailer or advertising setup or something roll out that we haven't seen yet. The third major thing is I've been telling people for weeks and weeks and weeks that there's no chance that this is going to be more than an exhibition fight. I didn't think that a 57-year-old Mike Tyson would have. I didn't think there would be any type of athletic commission or boxing governing body that would, cover him to fight. I don't know if it's still a boxing licensing kind of a situation. I'm super out of the loop on that. So I was mind blown when it turned out that it's going to be an actual, factual, legitimate fight. I saw an interview with Mike Tyson that might be like a year old or a few months old or whatever, and he was talking about how he was sad that there was, a part of him. There's a killer inside of him sleeping, and he was like emotional, moved to tears. It was something inside him untapped that he'd never be able to tap into again. And if he did, he was afraid of what he would do.
Yeah, I know the exact interview, right? Like,
Right. And now, fast forward,
yeah.
I saw a video of him training yesterday, and the man is still a machine. You can't count his punches. You can hear them. You can't see them.
Right.
Go ahead.
I mean, obviously, like if he can pass the physical, you know, which obviously they would know, obviously, you know, how if he was going to be able to, and then just monitor him during training, which I'm sure that they're doing. So yeah, I mean, if he can still go, you know, do it. Obviously, Tyson never took a whole lot of punishment. I mean, when you stop and really think about his entire career, right? He kind of won pretty much all of his. I mean, he's like 40 something and maybe like a few losses, right? So it's not like he took the Muhammad Ali style beatings every night. He, you know, a lot of his fights were short and violent, but lopsided, you know. And then his training, he trained his style so well, which was basically not to get hit, but to attack off attempts of hitting, you know, of getting hit. So, I mean, if he's healthy and he can do it, great. You know, I would like to see him maybe fight another fight after this, maybe not too far off, right? Because they did. I know they did the exhibition with Roy Jones. Was that in 2020 or 2021?
I think it was early in 2020. It was right around, I think, the beginning. It was early in the pandemic, or maybe right before it.
Right.
So,
and you know, I don't know if he stays in shape and maybe has another one. It's just going to be interesting. It's I hate to call it a freak show, but that's kind of what it is until, I don't know, until shit gets real, I guess, right? Like, this is going to be not an exhibition, so they're going to be swinging to knock each other out. So, if it's legit, straight up, I mean, we all know Tyson's going to destroy this guy. So, no more than like 3 or 4 rounds. If this really is 100%, we're not being showman here. So we'll see.
Anything beyond 4 rounds is going to go to Jake Paul. With, you know, obviously he's going to play into his advantage with him being 30 years younger than Mike Tyson, having fought more recently than Mike Tyson. But I think Tyson's going to put him down first round, second round.
The thing about that, right, is the level, the boxing IQ level of Mike Tyson was through the roof when he was 22 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so now obviously after taking years off and whatever, and kind of getting back on track, he never really got too far out of shape. Remember, because didn't he pop up in AEW a couple of times where he still looked in shape, like he looked good.
Yeah,
he didn't.
They panned the camera to him, and he was sleeping in the first row.
Yeah, but I mean, like he wasn't like overweight, fat, you know, clearly out drinking and partying or whatever. So, you know, getting those reflexes back and kind of knowing what he knows now, and I'm sure he can study Jake Paul's style and probably just pick it apart like no other person on the planet, right? Because he can see things that nobody else can, and then it's just a matter of being in shape to get in there and do it. This doesn't go past 3. Once Tyson touches him and he realizes that he's in the ring with like Mike Tyson, it's probably going to be a very eye-opening experience for Paul.
or an eye closing.
Right. Yeah, that could come right after. Yeah. Oh
Yep.
shit, this is Mike Tyson, and then
Yeah.
you wake up the next day.
Right. See you tomorrow.
Yeah.
But gonna switch gears a little bit, and we're gonna switch to Jake Paul's brother Logan. Did you catch anything on SmackDown from the Cody Rhodes and the Logan Paul contract signing?
No, I mean clips of, whatever people put up on Twitter, small clips of I guess the interaction with them. I believe it's title for title. Is that what they finally decided on, or?
Well, that's what they were saying, and then they did the contract signing, and Cody did his promo, called Logan Paul a tourist, said, you're just passing through, and then Logan Paul was out there with a bunch of his stooges and his lawyer, and he basically said that he never agreed to put his title on the line and ripped the contract up, and then showed another contract that wasn't for his title, and then Nick Aldis got all pissy, and then Cody was like, "Don't worry, Nick, you take the night off. I got this." And I watched the whole segment, and I still don't know which titles are on the line here. Is it just for
Yeah.
Cody's? It didn't make sense. Logan Paul went to take a cheap shot at Cody. Cody bipped him out of the ring, put one of his stooges through the contract signing table, and then held up both belts. So I still don't have clarification on what title is on the line here for this show.
Huh.
However, they have officially called it the main event. So it will be the main event of the King and Queen of the Ring in Saudi Arabia. So, with that all being said, what do you think they need to do, and what do you think they should do, and what do you think they're actually going to do? Because those three things can all be very different.
Well, I just feel like right now Cody's just doing good competitive matches with everybody, and that's going to be a thing until we get to something for him. I'm not sure when that is, but what they'll do is have a good back and forth match. Nobody looking too weak. It's a glorified house show. It's Saudi Arabia. It's you're gonna do what you normally do on a house show with just more pyro and laser lights. Make it look like Paul's gonna win, and then Cody beats him somehow. Slip something 1, 2, 3. I mean, it's not that crazy. I think they're gonna really push and try to highlight the King and Queen of the Ring stuff, and then the match is gonna come, and it's just gonna be a very back and forth type of match. I feel like Cody really wants to be that working champion, somewhat of what Seth was, I guess, to try to prove a point that Roman wasn't here, but I am, until Cody gets into that seat, and then he won't be around as much, just like Cena did and The Rock and everything else. So I don't know. I think it'll be a good match. Nothing too. I mean, they'll have a couple big crazy spots, and then Cody will beat him. Nothing. I'm not expecting too much from this.
Yeah, I'd like to see if maybe if they did something here that would advance Cody inside. Like, I don't mind this main event being for both titles and then having a non-finish. Like, if they could do something where, like, Cody dispatches of all of Logan Paul's stooges,
Right.
and then whoever is going to be next in line for Cody comes out, causes a DQ finish or some type of count out finish, and then we can get something cooking for Cody Rhodes that will carry us through the summer and maybe start like a bigger picture issue for him, because I feel like it's been now, what is it? It's the middle of May, just about towards the end of May. It's been over 6-7 weeks since WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And we got the first 3 weeks of they're doing the draft. You don't really have to do anything. And then his match with Carmelo Hayes. It's, for lack of a better term, it's time to shit or get off the pot here. Like, it's time to start doing something that, will draw money, will draw viewers, that us, the fans at home, can sink our teeth into. And if you're going to do a essentially a glorified birthday party show in Saudi Arabia, but you're going to produce it and present it to us as if it's canon or continuity,
Right.
like this is a good way, if you're going to put both titles on the line, to get out of it, and then throw some coals on the fire for what's happening next.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, do we do something here that sets up for SummerSlam, basically, right, is what you're getting at? Like, yeah, maybe Solo comes out and then kills everybody and leaves everybody laying, and they all hit the pose. And then there's, we're writing that script for SummerSlam. They need to do something if they're going to fill up another stadium. Right. And it's supposed to be one of the big four. Let's not shit on one of the most, prestigious pay-per-views of the year. They got to do something. And yeah, I would imagine it's either here or the very next week. They got to get into something good.
Not on our agenda today, but real quick, I wanted to ask you, who do you got for Money in the Bank this year? I want an early prediction.
I don't know. I was thinking about that too. That's a tough one. Part of me wants to go with Ricochet, but yeah. I feel like Braun is the obvious if he's in it, right? Like, yeah, he would be the heavy favorite. I just feel like doing that to Braun is like, I don't know. I don't like that. It's, I would leave Braun on his own. Yeah. I wouldn't let him. I wouldn't let him touch the Money in the Bank stuff, because I don't know. That just kind of, I don't know. You're just kind of waiting for it instead of letting it be a bigger surprise or something. I don't know. Maybe like a Ricochet. Nobody really jumps out at me because I don't really watch it that much, like, to be able to know who's doing what. But I don't know. I just don't have. Yeah.
I've got two.
For the men?
Yeah. The women's, that doesn't.
Yeah.
That's not a disparaging comment for the women's, but if you're not one of like the 4 or 5 top women's superstar there, then everybody else is even. It's the same thing with the Women's Rumble. Anybody can take it.
Yeah.
And they can just push from there.
Yep.
If it's going to be a baby face, I've got it as LA Knight.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a vehicle for him to switch to Raw. Okay?
Mm.
And then, well, if it's going to be another baby face, I've got it as CM Punk. Now, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Drew beats Damian Priest. And CM Punk wins the briefcase and then spends the whole rest of the summer screwing with Drew McIntyre.
That's a good one.
And then until finally he either does hey, I'm going to cash into your face. Like that one year, forgot who it was that one year, was like, I've got this briefcase, but I'm not going to come up from behind you. Like they set, I think it might have been John Cena.
I was going to say, I think it was Cena that did that.
Yeah. And then, they set a main event that way.
Yeah.
But anyway, outside of that, because I feel like it's time to do something with LA Knight. if you are going to do something with LA Knight.
Right.
Obviously, you're not going to split your fan base and have him challenge the pop of Cody Rhodes.
Right.
Right? That's just bad. That's just bad booking. So if you're going to go with LA Knight, you're going to have to use it to switch shows. But
so who would be the Raw champion then that he would go over to challenge? Drew?
Drew or Damian Priest?
Okay.
Anyway, a little more catch up on the king and the queen of the ring here. We've got. Did we go over the quarterfinal matches from last week?
Yes, we did.
We talked about Gunther beating Kofi and Jey Uso beating Ilya Dragunov.
I thought we did.
Okay, because I don't understand the booking in. We talked about them having because we were recording as they were getting ready to have the match.
Right, right.
The booking of the Jey Uso and the Ilya Dragunov is why put either one of those guys in the spot, and then they ended up beating Dragunov. I don't know if you know this, but the entire internet now hates Jey Uso, which is
already,
which is because they're like he doesn't do enough moves, and he's over with the people, so the whole other side of the fan base needs to dump on him. So Gunther beat Kofi, Jay beat Dragunov, Randy Orton beat Carmelo Hayes, which that's a good beat. If you're gonna beat, if you're gonna treat Carmelo Hayes like he's something, you're gonna beat him with somebody. It might as well be Randy Orton. You can't complain about that. And Tama Tonga beat LA Knight. So right now in the semifinals, we're looking at Jey Uso versus Gunther and Tama Tonga versus Randy Orton. You've got to find a creative way to beat Tama Tonga here. Right? Because you're not going to feed him to... Well, because I'm assuming that Gunther is going to beat Jey Uso.
Yes, I would imagine.
Right?
Right.
You're not going to feed Tama Tonga to Gunther.
You would think not, yeah.
So
who's Tama wrestling?
Randy.
Oh, okay. Ugh. I don't know. I just keep going back to interference.
Yeah.
Solo, a miscue of some kind. I hate that though, because it makes them look like they're clumsy.
Right.
Like they don't know what the fuck they're doing, and their family, so they should know better than just a group. Or it works and they catch one on Randy, and then Orton kills everybody with an RKO at the end and then leaves pissed off. I don't know.
Then do you beat Gunther with Jey? I mean, if you're looking at it that way.
Well, I'm looking at it from, trying to get Randy out of this situation. Because the numbers game should always be in favor of the bloodline should always win that. So I don't like it backfiring on them. And then Gunther, I don't know.
If you beat Gunther with Jey Uso, and then you beat Randy with Tama Tonga and Bloodline shenanigans, then you're setting up Jey Uso versus Tama Tonga.
Right.
On a show that's not really going to draw you any money.
Right. And then the internet will be extremely not happy.
Yeah.
Then it's a King Tama. I guess.
King. It would have to be. It would
Haku could come out and coronate him.
Because you gotta remember we're international here, so we're not getting a Jacob Fatu run-in.
No. I don't know. This is a very odd. When I looked at the lineup, I thought, man, there's some weird matchups, right? A lot of first time matchups here. And then just with the groups, especially with the Bloodline group itself, it just, I don't know. I can't put anything past them, and I don't want them to look like fools just yet. Like miscue's got to be worth it. There has to be like a major fuck up to capitalize on something huge if they do miscue. But up until that, they should just be like a well-oiled machine. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they're saving Gunther for Money in the Bank.
That's a good possibility too.
Because that would be a scary thought, right? Every time you go out there wondering if Gunther's going to cash in on your ass.
Did you catch the way they worked around beating Jade Cargill?
No, I did not. How did that go?
So it was set up. The women's quarterfinals was Io Sky beat Shayna Baszler. That Lyra Valkyria beat Zoe Starks. Bianca Belair beat Tiffany Stratton. More on her later. And then Nia Jax beat Jade Cargill.
Oh, wow.
And basically, Nia Jax being Nia Jax, she swings a chair overhead for like Jade Cargill's head.
Yeah.
Jade is supposed to catch it.
Oh.
But she only catches it with one hand. So the other hand like brains her on the side of the ear.
Oh.
And then she takes the chair and whacks Nia Jax with the chair. Referee calls for the bell. So they did a DQ angle to get around that. So we're gonna have Io Sky versus Lyra Valkyria and Bianca versus Nia Jax. You know what? I'm not gonna do it. I was gonna be such a huge piece of shit. You know what? Fuck it, I am gonna do it.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. I beat Bianca Belair with Nia Jax.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other match I don't really care about because Nia Jax is in a full bodysuit to begin with. So
Correct.
You don't have to really worry about sending one of your top stars over to Saudi Arabia and making them look more ridiculous than they already did. I toned that down from where I was going.
Yes,
So,
I can tell.
Yeah, so that worked out. Yeah, sorry. I mean, the more covering, the better. With Nia Jax, but do you think this would have been a good thing to if booked differently, right? Because you didn't want to put Bianca versus Jade Cargill. But I think the Queen of the Ring, like a throwaway achievement, essentially, would have been a good thing for Jade Cargill right now because she could have carried that, for a year, and it's an accolade and a notch under her belt. Women's Tag Champion, Queen of the Ring. You don't really have to do anything more with her then before she's ready for it.
Yeah. This is a lot of Rock influence, I feel, this pay-per-view maybe. Yeah. I'm not at all. I don't care about this pay-per-view one bit, to be honest with you. So didn't Zelina Vega win Queen of the Ring one time too?
Yes.
See, and they, it's not like what it was where it could be meaningful to somebody. So it's completely irrelevant. This is a house show, it's annoying.
Right. The next WWE topic I want to talk to you about was, have you seen any of these allegedly Uncle Howdy teasers?
Just like when they put them on Twitter and they say another Uncle Howdy, I don't know, sign or whatever. I guess it's like glitches in the feed.
Yeah, and then
and
they all
then
have
and then
QR
QR
codes.
codes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't see the latest one, but somebody had said something about it, and then I guess I saw a picture of Uncle Howdy. So I don't know. I guess they're loading up the stable, right? Right now, because
Yeah, I had read that Eric
Redbeard,
Rowan canceled all of his indie shots.
independent, right? Um. So yeah, I mean, I guess they're getting ready for it. I don't know what it's supposed to be, but
The reason why I brought it up was how do they do this without failing and without how do they make people care about this kind of crap without Bray Wyatt?
right.
And is it
That
is it just a cash in on the I don't want to say the legacy of but
yeah.
on the character of Bray
Hmm.
Wyatt?
Definitely feels that way because there's not much to it, and why should anybody really care? So it wasn't good when they were doing it. Like I wasn't like interested where I had to see what was going to happen next. Like it had nothing to it. There was nothing to the story of it except it was them two. Obviously there was more to still to come, but it never did. And then I still wasn't interested in it when if it did, because it was so cartoon like.
Yeah,
Like the stunts that they were doing was like it was too set up to where when you did see was an Uncle Howdy on something and then jump through something
yeah,
like a table or something. I can't remember what pay-per-view it was, but to me, I was like, well, this is too stagey. Like, he was clearly up there, and took too long to set all up. It was like they were trying too hard. I wasn't liking it when Bray Wyatt was there trying to execute it then. So I'm definitely not interested in it now. So it just, it'll be another faction. Somebody will run through, and then I'm sure they'll be gone in a couple years.
if that. I
Yeah,
don't understand you. They re-signed Bo Dallas to do all
yeah,
the the honky the Uncle Howdy
right,
nonsense,
yeah.
and then Bray died. You've got this guy under contract. Why don't he? There was going to be equity in the goodwill there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He wasn't going to walk into an arena as Bo Dallas in a pair of trunks and not get over because of the situation he was in.
right.
Wouldn't it hurt to just let him be Bo Dallas?
I mean, no, but does anybody want to see Bo Dallas?
Nobody wanted to see Uncle Howdy.
Yeah, but character wise, I think the fans want to see and be a part of whatever Bray Wyatt type stuff could come out of it, I guess.
Hmm.
There's more connection with the fans there than there is, with Bo Dallas. I mean, honestly, you could have just put Bo Dallas under a legacy contract and have him pop up on some shows every now and again, like they did with that Bray Wyatt documentary, which was really done really well.
I haven't
Uh,
yet. I'm not ready.
uh, I was the same, and then one night I just thought, I'm just gonna, if it's dumb, I'll just turn it off. But it was all right. I don't know. I just would have put him under a Legends deal or something, and I don't know. I just feel like it might be too soon right now to bring this whole character back. Maybe should have brought it back maybe in another year ish. You
Well,
know,
that leads to my next question about this. Do you think they have the audacity to let somebody else portray the Fiend?
you mean have Bo Dallas do the Fiend?
have Bo Dallas do the Fiend, or have basically anybody do the Fiend for this gimmick. You know what I mean?
I don't see that happening, to be honest, because the backlash that will come from that would be terrible for
Absolutely, but they're if anybody's going to spin something here, it's going to be them, and they can say, "Well, we're doing it in honor of or in memory of." And
Yeah.
even if he's like not like an in-ring talent or character, but like they're doing weird backstage promos,
Yeah.
and then the Fiend is standing there in the background. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I got you. Yeah,
you're just like,
just like a character.
I don't.
Yeah.
I can see them doing it.
Yeah, when you put it that way, I guess.
Vince would have done it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I could see in that sense, but I feel like the people in charge now are going to ask, "What's the payoff, though?"
Right.
Because the character is never going to come to the ring, right?
Right.
So, I mean, I would imagine that they think about that first and foremost, and then remind themselves that the fans are not going to like that one bit if it ever did happen. The Uncle Howdy thing, kind of starting the group up under him, is one thing, but to have another character played or have the Fiend character there would just be not good. The reason why I say that is like in Lucha Libre, it's like when CMLL owns the Mystico character, and then the guy who plays it, he left for WWE to be Sin Cara, right? And then they announced Mystico was back, and then it was another guy under the same mask, and the crowd just boos that character out of the building. You know
what I always thought was hysterical about that? So like CMLL was like, "No, this is Mystico, right?"
Yeah.
And then he was over here as Sin Cara,
Right.
and as soon as he put shit in the sheets here, WWE was like, "No, no, no, this is Sin Cara."
Yeah.
So he didn't get to actually be Sin Cara or Mystico.
Yeah.
That was always entertaining to me, but we've come to the portion of the show where we talk about AEW.
Sadness.
AEW not good, and we're gonna start with this. We're gonna start with the booking of Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay is booked to face Roddy Strong at the Double or Nothing pay-per-view for the international title. We talked about that last week. I believe on Collision on Saturday night, he went 15 minutes, I think, with Shane Taylor.
Yes.
Okay. And then this Wednesday night on Dynamite, he is going to be teaming with Orange Cassidy to go against Roddy Strong and Trent Beretta. I understand, like, wanting to get him on TV, right? Because he actually is a net positive for ratings. He is a good character. He is a good babyface. He is a good promo. He is a good wrestler. Why are you playing all of these games with his booking against underneath guys? What's the logic?
Because Tony Khan doesn't think Orange Cassidy is a underneath guy. You have to look at it from his perspective, right? He thinks that Orange Cassidy's helping Will Ospreay. That's the only logic that I could come up with when I saw that announcement.
Yeah, but what about the 15 minutes on to start Collision
Right.
off with Shane Taylor? Why?
Yeah, I mean, again, the value in Ospreay is his matches. It's just you don't want to book him with such a bad opponent uh, to go so long. It shouldn't have been that long. The match should have been maybe 8 minutes.
If that, it
A,
should have been a get over match.
a lot of Ospreay selling off some sort of cheap start. Do the whole Shawn Michaels type of sell, Shawn Diesel style match, and then just a barrage of strikes and then finish. I don't know. I mean, that's a whole nother discussion, that particular match. But yeah, I don't know. As usual, Tony Khan will find a way to ruin another wrestling star on his TV show. So
We've talked with WWE, we've talked about like Cody. Cody doesn't need to have a match every night, right? And they were smart in the beginning with Will Ospreay,
yeah,
right? He had a match, and then it was a couple of weeks he had promos,
promo, right?
and then a match on pay-per-view, and then a match the next week on TV. Like they're overusing him, I think, on television.
Yes.
There should I don't see the reason to not be trying to set guys up for you've got to pay to see this guy.
Right.
Right? Because they're still, they do traditional pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Right? People are paying to see certain guys, certain matches. Like, why not book Will Ospreay like a special attraction?
Well, because Tony Khan doesn't know what he's doing. It could be a little bit of both, that and on top of Will saying that he wants to work a lot, but also being on television, is different than independence or wrestling on tour in Japan. Is There's a difference there. The house shows in New Japan on tours, on series that they would run, are all just as important, because they're a live event business. They're trying to fill the house on tour, because not everything is televised. So you have to work hard and long and give the fans what they came to see, so they would come back. But in this particular situation, if Ospreay is on television every week, he doesn't need a match every week. When he does have a match, it does not need to be everything in his arsenal again and again and again, because in 3 months, the fans could be like, this guy does the same old bullshit. Like, we don't like it now, because you can just overdo it. Right. So it is a little ridiculous that he would go with an underneath talent and drag them along like he did with the ROH TV champ, Fletcher, or whatever his name was. That didn't need to be a back and forth situation either, right? Because where's the mystique of Ospreay being on such another level and in ring wise, that that this underneath guy can keep up with him move for move, and almost looks like him. I mean, it's ridiculous. I hate that type of stuff. When we were in Lucha Underground, Shane Strickland was trying to be Ricochet, and it was an annoying thing where every now and again he would ask, Strickland would ask me, "Oh, what did you think of the match?" Or, "Did you see this? Did you see that?" And I'm like, "You do a lot of the stuff that Ricochet does. Like, make up your own shit." Like, like he's the guy here, and you're just the watered down version of it. Like, make up your own thing. So I hate when I see that, because I just think of stuff like that. Like, like, oh, you're you're not yourself. You're trying to be somebody else. So with that being said, I don't like Ospreay being overexposed on TV so much. It's just the more we see his matches, the quicker we're gonna get tired of seeing his matches, because they all have to go a certain length to prove some sort of point. If you wanted to prove a point, Ospreay, you should have just went to WWE and you could do this shit on 17 house shows in 28 days like you were supposed to do and leave your mark there. Instead, you took the easy route. So here we are.
Like you're flying over from England every week. Like you're gonna want to do more than talking to a microphone. But I mean, it just it doesn't make sense to me. You can go out there in 3 minutes and get yourself over. You don't, the Jim Cornette always says, well, who are we pushing here?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, just go get yourself over. It's not always your job as a wrestler to make sure that your opponent, as much as it also isn't to make sure that your opponent always, you know what I mean? Sometimes you just got to go out there, spend 2 minutes in the ring and get yourself over, because that's what the job is. And the person that you're wrestling should be suited, right? Should be cast properly as the guy that happens to. You don't have to use Shane Taylor. I'm sure you've got more indie guys in the back than you do in section 103. Grab one of them and say, hey, we're going to go out there for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I'm going to hit my shit. This is how you take it. Thanks for everything. It's not always your job to make that guy look like $1 million also.
Yeah, but that's the audience that they gear their product towards, though.
Right, but that's their own fault. The WWE conditioned their audience. Territory wrestling conditioned their audience. When you turned on TV, you were going to see some guy with a gap between his teeth that when he smiles, you don't know if you should wave or kick a field goal, with a bad mullet, and he's going to get his dick kicked in the dirt for 5 minutes.
Yep.
And if the guy that you want to see is feeling in a good mood, he might let him get a sunset flip.
Right.
Like, this is, every match doesn't have to be there. Let him put 3 or 4 easy job match wins over, and then let him have a halfway competitive match with somebody that starts a story. And now you're heading for a pay-per-view. Let's go draw some money. It's just the booking is terrible, and they got Roddy Strong sitting at ringside doing commentary, like looking like an idiot. It's just the whole thing. They're not treating him like he's special, and they've got a handful of guys on that roster that should be treated like they're special, and they just don't know how to do it.
Well, again, it goes back to, like I've been saying, like, what are they saying in the back about it?
Right.
If Tony Khan is coming up to you with, hey, here's what we're going to do, and no one's questioning it, you're just going to go out and do what you're told to do, and you think you're doing the right thing because you're saying, hey, my boss told me to do this, and I went and did it. Right? So in the back, you get stuck into that. Hey, I'm a good soldier. I'm doing my job right. This is what I'm asked of, But in reality, if you are a Will Ospreay or a Jay White or somebody, Roderick Strong, why are you guys not questioning this stuff? An MJF, for crying out loud, right? Like why am I doing this? Why do I have to do this again? Why do you can get like, I try to, if I ever had a question about anything, I tried to get everybody in the same in the same area, so there was no he said she said bullshit.
Right.
If I have to go 15 minutes with this guy and I'm the one getting pushed, to wrestle the champion next month, why am I going 15 minutes with this guy? No offense. You then get me another guy that I don't have to go 15 minutes with.
Right.
And then if you have time to fill, I understand. Okay, let's hit a couple replays, blah, blah, blah. By that time, Shivani's made his way up there, and he's grabbed the mic, and we're talking about the pay-per-view, talking about Roderick Strong. I'm focused. I'm firing on all cylinders. I'm coming for that championship, blah, 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 blah. Now everything feels a little more special. Who was talking about Roderick Strong while these matches were happening, and why was it 15 minutes worth of this match happening if you're going to be wrestling one of the best wrestlers on the planet, on a pay-per-view, and you're going 15 minutes with a guy that looks like Shane Taylor? Nice guy, don't get me wrong, but doesn't deserve to be in the ring with Will Ospreay for 15 minutes bell to bell.
Right.
Like, I mean, everyone looked bad, right? What if you're a casual WWE fan and you flip through the channels and you catch Collision and you look at, a male version of Nia Jax against Will Ospreay, you're like
and
watching it,
selling his ass off.
Yeah, and you're like, who is this guy and why is he doing these things to this little man?
Right.
I don't know. It as usual, AEW doesn't make any sense. They're catering to their audience, and only their audience is buying their shit, and that's why they're in the position that they are in, where they're getting 2,000 or 3,000 people to come to TV tapings in 20,000 seat arenas. It's fucking ridiculous.
They don't even have 2,000 for this Wednesday's taping in Bakersfield.
Bakersfield, where the EVPs are from.
The Mechanic Bank Arena.
Like that would be a hometown show for your quote unquote hottest angle, right?
They've sold 15. I don't know when this article has got to be from within the last couple of days, but it says that they sold 1,530 seats. The venue was set up for 2,317. Do you know this building?
No, I don't know that building.
Okay, so I don't know what the actual capacity for that building is. On another note of what we were talking about last week, Eddie Kingston has been replaced in the Anarchy in the Arena match by Darby Allin. So Darby is suddenly in, Eddie is out, and it's been reported that he suffered a fractured tibia in that spot in California. So he's got a broken leg.
Yeah.
So thanks for coming, Eddie.
Yeah.
And Darby has been slid in for Anarchy in the Arena. But again, on this Wednesday's Dynamite, do you know any of the card for Wednesday's Dynamite? Before we get to our next main topic, well,
just the Ospreay match I saw.
Okay, well, Bryan Danielson is going to be having a very, very highly anticipated match with Satnam Singh.
What?
Yeah, Bryan Danielson versus Satnam Singh.
Okay.
Konosuke Takeshita versus Matt Sydal. Jon Moxley is set to appear. And now I want to talk about the booking of Swerve Strickland. Because this is worse than the Will Ospreay booking.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Dynamite, I think it was 2 weeks ago, Christian and his whole crew comes down like they're going to mob on him, right? And the faction that Swerve was affiliated with, the Mogul Embassy. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
That's Brian Cage and the two Samoanish guys, Bishop Khan and Taya Loa, whatever. They slide in like they got his back, and then Brian Cage, Seth Rollins him. They put the boots to him, yada yada yada. So now here's the faction that, for all intents and purposes, everybody has forgotten that Swerve Strickland was a part of.
Yes.
Right? He hasn't been seen with in months since he's been part of the world title picture.
Yes.
No affiliation.
Yes. At least 2 pay-per-views worth back, right? Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
So now they're beating the crap out of your world champion. And then the next week, he goes to get revenge on them. And then Christian comes out, opens him up, and cuts a promo. So then Christian leaves him laying. Okay? And then the next week, you've got him booked with Brian Cage. Okay? And they have a big, long, silly match where he gets a ton of heat on Swerve. And then I think there was an afterbirth there with Christian and Nick Wayne. And now this Wednesday, you're putting Swerve Strickland in a match on Dynamite on TV, your world's heavyweight champion, with Nick Wayne. A one-on-one singles match with Nick Wayne. So they're booking what he's doing physically horribly, right? Now, the actual booking of his person, of his character, his personality, they're not booking him in the way or at all like how he got over with the people organically to begin.
Right.
Like, do you remember how he got over?
Mm-hmm.
He was a badass heel.
Yep.
He was breaking cinder blocks on people, breaking into people's houses, just vicious, intense stuff. And then since they've made him the champion, they're trying to book him as like a sympathetic babyface, right? Which he's not. Let me ask you a question. WrestleMania 13, Austin and Bret, the double turn. Austin was, bleeding all in his mouth, passed out. Did he come out on TV the next night and get the crap kicked out of him?
No. As a matter of fact, didn't he stun people on his way out of that match?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did he come out on TV 2 weeks later and start feuding with the $1 Million Corporation, the faction that we all forgot he was a part of?
Right.
2 years earlier.
Right.
I feel like I don't want to compare Swerve and Stone Cold, right? Because you can't.
Right.
But also you kind of can, because they got over in a similar fashion, right? And they got turned in a similar fashion. But then instead of letting Swerve be Swerve, they're booking him like every other white meat babyface. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So what do you think? Like, Swerve Strickland. Do you think he's the kind of person that'll turn around and be like, "Hey, this isn't what I do or what we were doing"? Like, is it too late, in your opinion, for them to go back to booking him in the way that they did originally, which endeared him to all the fans?
Well, it's never too late, because you can start that at any time. I think, at least, especially with this group, with the group of fans that they have. But yeah, I don't know. I think, and this is just, I guess, my opinion, obviously. Do they think, oh, you're going to be our Cody Rhodes now, and since you're the champion that everybody wanted, we're gonna, book you this way because we want you to be looked at as, getting sympathy from the fans. So that is why I think they used Christian to be his first title match, contender, because Christian has great heat with the crowd, but they just don't know how to do that correctly. I also wouldn't have done that. But no, I mean, it's funny when you hear Stone Cold talk about him first getting hot, right? After the Bret Hart match, he felt like he was on his way. And then people joke to him and say, "You're the top baby face in the company." And he used to get upset and say, "No, I'm a heel. I'm a heel." And they say, "No, listen to the fans. You're a baby face, But he never worked as a baby face. And that's what made him such a great baby face was, what he did. So if they would have kept Swerve working as a heel, and I mean, working as a heel, I guess that doesn't really exist anymore, because good guys and bad guys do cool things all the time, right? So there's no real quote unquote working as a face, except for the fact that you take some heat at some point in the match and hit a comeback. That would be the extent of anyone's psychology now in a match, right? Like, I do this and this and this. Okay, with the exception of myself, I've never heard anybody else in the locker room say, "Well, don't do that because that's a babyface type of thing," or find the correct place to put that, as opposed to, "Hey, just do it randomly here. Oh, that's what I always do." Okay, well, you're not over because that's what you always do. No one's looking at it from that perspective. Obviously, the rumors are that everybody in the back doesn't really take advice from any of the experts that are back there to agent their matches. So they're just kind of out there doing what they're doing. And this is the result of it. I mean, for the people that like the back and forth matches, they're the ones tuning in. But how many of them are there out there? 600 to 700,000 people a week that want to see a quote unquote competitive matchup that's going to get rated later, where they can sit there and argue how great it really was or wasn't. So, they're not doing anything for any big picture reasons. They're doing it because they want to have fun wrestling. Like, this is that classic, everyone gets a trophy. Everyone in that company has a belt. Everybody's a world champion from some different world. And, we all can play together, and it doesn't make any sense. It's annoying because you'll have 100 people on Twitter going to bat to death for them. And the fact of the matter is, WWE is making so much money off good stories and developing characters. I saw something where they clipped up a thing with Okada, and then they clipped up a thing with Tama Tonga, where they're talking about, well, Tama Tonga was a mid-card, foreign wrestler for New Japan, and Okada was the Inoki of the brand, and now their roles have flipped when they come to America. Tama Tonga's in main event angles on the hottest TV show anywhere, and Okada is making stupid remarks in his broken English with the Young Bucks making faces behind him.
Yeah.
Like, are you fucking kidding me? I mean,
meanwhile, each WWE show can lose the entire AEW fan base in ratings.
Yeah.
Right? A WWE show can lose 600,000 or 700,000 viewers over the course of their show and still be over 1.2, 1.3 million.
Yep.
But the last thing I want to bring up here tonight, our last AEW topic, is I've got an updated Double or Nothing card, and I know it's really, really going to light your world on fire, so I just figured I'd bring it up. So, If my phone would like to unlock here. Okay. Are you ready?
Sure.
Are you sure you're sure?
Is this Sunday or
No, it's
Saturday?
oh, what's today's date? Today's the 20th. Yeah, it's going to be the 26th. Okay, so this is this weekend show.
Okay.
Great. I guess I know which one of us has to watch this weekend. All right. We're going to have Roddy Strong versus Will Ospreay for the international title. We already knew that. Tony Storm and Serena Deeb, we already knew that. We are going to get Adam Copeland versus Malachi Black, allegedly in a barbed wire steel cage match for the AEW TNT Championship. We will be getting Trent Beretta versus Orange Cassidy. 2. We will be getting Chris Jericho in an FTW rules eliminator match, but it doesn't say with who. This is all coming off of Wikipedia, so if something is bullshit, it's Wikipedia's fault. Willow Nightingale versus Mercedes, we knew that. We knew that we were getting the Anarchy in the Arena match. Okay. We knew that we'd be getting Swerve Strickland versus Christian Cage for the AEW World Title match. We will also be getting Jon Moxley versus Takeshita in an IWGP Heavyweight Championship eliminator match.
What does the eliminator match mean? What is
The
that?
eliminator match is if you beat the champion, then you get a championship match.
So Takeshita will win, and then they'll do the match on Dynamite
Why?
because they're idiots.
Bro, just how hard do they need to bury Swerve Strickland? It's just why? If this is real, that you're first of all, you're having the Anarchy in the Arena match, right? And then you're gonna do Adam Copeland versus Malachi Black in a barbed wire steel cage match. So you're gonna have 2 big garbage matches, okay?
Yes.
And
Yes.
then you're gonna have Moxley out there doing Moxley garbage with Takeshita,
Right.
who's not nearly important enough to be like, hey man, I'm not doing that shit.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Will Ospreay versus Roddy Strong.
Right.
Like, this guy loves to book big, crazy dream matches, but then when he goes out there and puts on a regular wrestling match for his world title in the main event, after all of this, who cares?
Right.
Now you're going to do a headlock?
That's AEW. It doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't. But it is what it is.
Well, now I just
And
realized.
what are the tickets look like for that venue?
Oh, I'll let you know in 1 second.
Because that's Las Vegas.
Yeah, that's the MGM Garden Grand.
Oh, geez. Like 7,000 maybe?
How many have they sold? Is that what you're
Yeah.
at?
Yeah. What's it looking like right now?
Double or
It's
nothing. Give me 1
it's this
second.
it's this weekend, unless they have a convention or something. I don't see a big walk up.
The last update from about 10 days ago, they're just over 6,000.
There you go.
All right, they're just over 6,000. Uh, and they opened up more seating behind the hard cam. So let me just check real quick. I want to see what the capacity on the MGM Garden Grand Arena is.
Is that where the UFC hosts events?
I believe so.
Is that like 15,000? 15 to 18 or
Capacity. There's 15,000 permanent seating, 17,000 with bleachers.
yeah, okay.
Okay. So
So half full.
yeah. Well, I mean,
They won't get more than 8, right? I can't imagine.
they can't do any worse than the UWF Blackjack Brawl, right?
UWF.
It's one of their listed events on their Wikipedia is the 1994 UWF Blackjack Brawl.
The real UWF. What's his name's? The cokehead, right?
Was that Herb Abrams or was that
Herb Abrams? Yeah.
That was Herb Abrams.
That sounds about right.
Christ. All right, you got anything else you want to contribute for this week?
No, I just don't think this pay-per-view is going to be any good, and it's going to be a bunch of garbage wrestling.
Right.
And I don't know why nobody speaks up about it.
Oh, I'm going to speak up about it. It's going to cost me $50.
What a disaster.
All right. Well, you know what? I think I'm in a bad mood now. I think we're done here. This has been Podfluxxx, episode 55. Motherfluxxers, we'll catch you next week with a Double or Nothing review. Later.